Okay, so today I'm going to teach you a warm-up that you probably should never have to use. But unfortunately, the way the world is, maybe you've been traveling, maybe you live in a place where not everybody appreciates the trumpet, and so you can't play every day. So if you've taken a few days off, you might get back to playing and feel like you're never going to play the same again. I know that's the case for me. If I take 3 days off, my next day back, gosh, I just feel like I guess I'm just never going to be able to do this again, right? And so, as a matter of fact, I did take one whole day off plus all of today to be able to do this honestly with you. And I tried this over the last break. We're kind of getting back to school now. This is in January of 2021. And so my school is going back in next week. And so this is a good time if you've been a little bit lazy with your practice, or if you've been otherwise unable to do anything. This is a good time to kind of get back into the swing of things. But if you just go back to your normal warm-up, sometimes that is a little bit harrowing of an experience. You don't feel good about it. And so this warm-up is designed to sort of ease us into it. And you might do this and add little pieces every day for a few days, or you might just do this warm-up for 3 or 4 days in a row. And by the time you've played for 3 days in a row, 2 days in a row even, you'll feel like you're ready to do it again, and it won't be quite so bad. So we want to focus on a couple of things. One is that we are getting a really good, easy buzz. One is that we want to make sure our muscles are actually being engaged. A lot of times we try to play too sort of loosely when we get back into things, and we're actually usually using a little more muscle, but since they're used to being used, they don't feel like they are. And so we want to be careful that we don't just try to make things feel like they used to feel, because that's not going to work out, right? We do want them to feel easy though, so a nice easy production, that's what we're after. And we want to make sure that we're using our air really well, steady, plentiful but not overblowing. And we want to make sure we have a nice tone and that we can move that around a little bit so that we can play different notes. So we're going to start with some free buzzing, which is something that I normally don't do at all. We're also going to use a timer, and I'll keep track of the time. You can just use the computer because it has times just right down below all the time. But when you're doing this on your own, you should do it at your own pace. So this is one that I don't necessarily recommend sticking strictly to the script with the video. Pause and wait until you feel like playing again in between. And if I ever figure out how to not be an old man, I'll put time so you can just click to the next thing when you're ready. But don't go fast. Don't try to just blow your way through it, because that's going to end up back where you started, where you don't feel like you are ever going to play as well as you once did. And I promise you, even if you do feel that way already, it doesn't last. You just got to push through it, keep going. But anyway, that's enough talking. Let's get into the warm-up. The first time I did this as a sort of experiment, it took me a whole hour and 15 minutes. We're not going to do that version today because we might not be able to play that long. That's totally fine. And even with lots of rest, sometimes that still is going to be too much. So we're going to start with just a couple of minutes of free buzzing. And the way I do the timer, you can set it to count down. You can use a timer on your phone as an alarm or whatever. But I'd rather do it the opposite way, where I'm timing myself like a stopwatch, right? So it's counting up. And then what I do is when I look, I say, oh, okay, I played for a minute and a half, so now I want to make sure I rest maybe for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, right? Something longer than that. And I also might just rest as long as I feel like resting, and then see what that time is. And as long as it's a little equal to or more than what I did playing, then I feel like I'm being safe. Okay, so we're going to use it that way, and I'll tell you what the times are. So we're going to start with some free buzzing, and we're going to start with just what I call a horse buzz, which is just like kind of what a horse does when they're, I don't know what that's called. Somebody can tell me in the comments that what it's called when a horse does that. But so we're just going to start off. I'll start the timer. We're just going to start off just doing that a little bit, getting the blood flow going. try to change the pitch a little bit, see if you can get it to go up. And I want you to notice how the muscles pull in towards the center. Right? So you should feel a little tingly now. That's good. We've got some blood flow happening. Now, that's not the range that the trumpet plays in, so that buzz is not going to work on the trumpet, but did you feel that the muscles kind of tensing just a little bit, but keeping the buzz going? That's what we want to emulate when we make a more rolled in embouchure for the trumpet. Okay, so you should feel these muscles here working. You can even touch them if you want, right? And now we're going to keep those, and we're going to roll our lip in just a little bit and try to make more of a trumpet kind of buzz. And I start with a poo, and like I said, this is honest. I didn't play for the last almost 2 days, so it's going to be hard to do. Just get one really nice, solid buzz, and then see if you can move it around a little bit. You might change the way that your top lip is on top of or behind your bottom lip. Usually I want them right on top of each other, but sometimes it helps to have one very slightly in front of the other. And then you want to check to make sure those muscles are engaged. If one of them is not doing its job, you'll get sort of like it almost starts kind of effect, right? So now we've been going 2 minutes. We're going to do 30 more seconds where we're just buzzing, right? That note doesn't want to come out for me. So that was 30 more seconds. That was 2.5 minutes that we just did stuff. So I'm starting it again back at 0. You can't see that, but starting it back at 0, counting up. And now we're just going to talk about that and what we're going to do next for, let's say, at least 3 minutes. So now you noticed when I was doing that, there's areas that don't want to respond. And that's okay. We don't need them all to respond evenly. It'd be great if you could get that to happen. But again, remember that would take a lot of strength, and we don't have that strength right now, right? We're getting back into it. We're going to build some of that strength over time, and we want to build it usefully, right? You don't want to just you don't want to be muscle bound. You want to actually have the range of motion, and the muscle needs to be useful muscle, right? Talk to weight training people about that, and they'll you'll see the guys who can't move their arms because they're so bulky that their arms don't extend past that. That's not the kind of muscle we want. We want more like a baseball pitcher, right, where they have to stay limber but they can also be strong at the same time. And that comes from some weight training, but also actually pitching the ball. And that's what this is designed to do. Is we're doing some things that are close to trumpet playing, but not exactly. But we're going to get to trumpet playing pretty quickly and build the strength from a place of actual use. Okay? So we're only at 1:20. So when you're doing the free buzzing, it's okay to sort of, you can actually work your way all the way up from horse buzz to trumpet buzz. There's some places in the middle that are really tough to get, but you can work on that if that seems like it's helping you. And especially if you really feel like you don't know where your embouchure is, that's a good way to kind of find it. It's also okay if your buzz comes out an octave lower than you actually want to play the trumpet. That's just some people's embouchure, and that's totally fine. Just leave it down there. Don't feel like you have to, try to get those higher notes. I think it's good to be able to do both, but not right away. You don't have to worry about that. So just whatever buzz comes out, that's the buzz you want to go with. Now, the next thing we're going to do is cut out medium tones. Now, you might say, I don't know what any of those words mean. Well, it's over here now. This is a cutout, and you can see that this doesn't have a cup. It's drilled out of there, right? You can see right through it. And that's because I just want the rim, right? So if you have a removable rim on your trumpet mouthpiece, this happens to be a screw rim cutout, which is a very good thing to have. But If you just have a rim, I don't have any. If you just have a rim, that's great. If you don't have a rim, that's also okay, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to start my timer. That was 2.5 minutes. I guess I won't yet. If you don't have a cutout, all this is doing is isolating some of the muscle, right? The part that vibrates from the part that doesn't. Out here, right? I can still. I can. Well, we call that walking in and out of the buzz. That's a Brad Good thing. And what I can do is actually use my fingers again. I like to use these fingers. I don't know why. They just feel more comfortable. And that's going to just kind of deaden just the top corners and the bottom corners. And that's enough to sort of isolate the buzz a little bit. So you can hear that's much cleaner than where I'm having to hold. We don't want to be muscle bound. We want to be getting useful muscle building. And again, it's all about the ease of response. So this is all I'm doing poo attacks, letting the lips get pushed apart by the air when they're starting together. And then I'm constantly resetting that to make sure that they stay close together and that buzz is easy to produce, okay? So we're going to do a little bit of this. I'm going to use my cutout, and you can use your 4 fingers or a rim or whatever you want. Just make sure that if you're using a rim, you're putting even pressure on top, bottom, left, and right, that you're not pressing into one corner or side or anything like that more than another. Again, make sure that this is easy, start slow. And what are medium tones? Well, we're just going to play sort of, it's not a long tone, and it's not what I call an alarm clock tone, where it's just a very short tone. It's a medium tone. So I also have my tuner here. It's going to tell me that's an A, 440. So we're just going to play, we'll start on A and we'll move around. In fact, no, let's not start on A. Let's try to just see what comes out, and then we'll move it around and we'll know where A is, right? Okay, here we go. So that was easily over 3 minutes. So I got a G. That's about a medium tone. And don't worry if it doesn't come out, right? That's our A. If it doesn't come out for you, you can just, whatever comes out, comes out. If it doesn't come out for you, don't try to force it to come out. You want to relax and let it come out, right? Now that might not mean relaxing face muscles, but it's relaxing our state of mind, right? I don't want to go, oh gosh, darn it. That's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Instead, I want to just, I don't care what comes out. I want to see what comes out. Sometimes it's our tongue position is a little funny position. Sometimes it's one of our lips is rolled in too much. I want to keep my body options open, right? So I'm using all of my mental power to notice things that are bothering me about what my body is doing, and then I can sort of very slowly alter that towards something that does work. I don't even need to know what it is. I just got to go, okay, well, let me see if I can make that buzz a little easier. Yeah. Just continually doing that, right? That's only been 2 minutes. We can do a lot more of that. Let's find our A. Oh. So I'm going to try to go an A scale down an octave. I'm usually pretty bad at, that was kind of close. Sorry, I put on my lapel mic so you can hear me a little more clearly. So just as long as you want to do this, as long as you still feel I still feel great. So we're going to do a little more. And if it shakes on you like that, that's also okay, right? So that was 3.5 minutes. I think that's good enough for now. But if you feel good, you can keep doing this. Medium tones, I was moving them around a little bit there, but that's a medium tone. A shorter tone, like an alarm clock tone, those are useful for getting that initial spark of a response, but they don't necessarily tell you if that embouchure is going to work. They just tell you that your lips were in a good enough place to get something going. And that can be a first step too if you want, right? I have alarm clock tones on some of my other videos. They're great on the cutout, they're great on free buzzing, they're great on the mouthpiece. Anything on the whole trumpet, obviously. They're a great way to just get that initial, the way that you want the note to start. But it's nice to let it play out a little bit too. Then you get to find out what your support feels like, whether or not your embouchure is actually stable or if it's going to be sort of bumpy, right? And if you're if you're on this step, it's okay if it's a little bit bumpy, right? Again, your muscles are kind of getting used to working again, so they might twitch a little bit. That's okay, right? You just focus on the airflow and they'll eventually even themselves out. Okay, so I didn't start my thing. Well, that was probably about 1.5 minutes. The next thing we're going to do is also something that you might not have. This is the inside of Stomvy's The Up Sound. This is a very cool buzz aid. I don't think the rest of it is around here. It has a big gray sort of handle part to it that goes over this part, and this is not this is a different filter that comes with it. I like this one because it's a little harder. It gives me a little more resistance. But if you don't have one of these, that's okay. You can just use your mouthpiece because that's going to be a heck of a lot more resistance than either just your free buzz or the cutout, right? And if you want, you can put your finger over it a little bit and find a place that you like that it gives you the right amount of resistance for you. You can even use your other hand, although it's harder. But it's easy to make it too small. And if you want to dedicate a mouthpiece to this, you could just get a piece of tape and put it over the end of the mouthpiece and keep poking holes in it until it feels the way you want. It's not nearly as good as having a whole device for it, but I at that point I might just recommend use the mouthpiece. But there are a lot of ways to add a little bit of resistance. There's the burp adds resistance to the buzz, which is a good thing. There's a lot of ways. So just choose your favorite way. And what we're trying to do now we've been focused on getting this buzz to feel easy and to actually work and to use our muscles to make that happen. So now we're going to start turning towards the air more. And we want the air, first of all, the turnaround, right, is really important. That is that we breathe in, and the next thing that happens is we blow right back out. We don't hold our breath. We don't want to go, right? And you may have even seen me do, when I buzz, sometimes I do that more. But as soon as I'm focused on it, I really want the turnaround to just go right into the buzz, right? I just like you were singing, right? We don't hesitate, and so we don't want that hesitation. And in order to get ourselves to just go for it, you just kind of can't care what comes out. You just have to say, okay, well, I'm going to see what comes out. I can adjust it for the next one, right? So, okay, that was about 3-4 minutes, I would say. So we're going to do some up sound. And this we might do a little longer. We'll see. So we're going to get that A again, just so we have a common sense of reference, a pitch reference. If you're doing this alone, just let come what may, and then you can adjust it. Same thing as with the response. Same thing as with the turnaround, right? Just make sure the turnaround is good, and find out what that means. So let's do that first. We don't care about the pitch reference right now. well, I was probably stuck in my head, right? Okay, so I can do better. My embouchure didn't feel ready the way that it did when we were doing the cutout. So if you have both, you might go back. Okay, yeah, that's where those muscles, I want those engaged, but not preset, just there and ready, right? Like a catcher. If we were talking about a pitcher before, and the pitcher is the air and the way the muscle needs to be built, the catcher is the way you use that muscle, right? They're ready, but they're not preset. They're just ready to catch the ball. And so that's the way we want to be. That was much better for me. It's a little shaky, but yeah, that's getting there. So this is going to be an easier thing for you to pause or maybe watch this section and then pause and do it on your own. And in fact, that might be the best way to use this video, is to watch me do it, and then you do it on your own in between, and once you've heard all the words, then you can just play while I'm talking, right? So what can we do once we have the medium tone set up and the turnaround feels good? We want to move it around a little bit. So and I like to do a siren at first, so I'm not trying to chop into something. I'm presetting where I think it should go, finding out where it feels the best, and then I can be a little more granular, or rather a little more rigid. So. And remember, I'm maintaining the muscle isometrics that we built already. We've added turnaround, and now that turnaround hits the resistance of, that's why we wanted this resistance, right? It's fine on just the mouthpiece. You still get some resistance there, but the added resistance gives me something to lean into, and I can steady myself on that, just getting the air to get to the resistance, right? So that's what we're trying to do here. All right, so there's about 4.5 minutes with some talking in there. And you can do this as long as you want. You should keep making sure that things stay easy for you. We're going to get frustrated when we try to do something that we really can't do yet, and then just bang our head against the wall with it, because we still can't do it, and we still can't do it. And when you start to put pressure on yourself to be able to do it right now, that's when you start to run into some sort of bad playing habits, some bad practice habits. And so you want to just, each one of these steps, from the free buzzing up to the up sound or just mouthpiece buzzing, you want to make sure that it feels easy for you to do, and that you don't tell it how to be, but you're finding out how it feels easy, right? All right, good. So we'll put that away. The next thing we're going to do is long tones, because the main way that you're going to build endurance is through long tones. And endurance is the first thing that goes. A lot of you who are using this video, or maybe just kind of checking it out, you probably don't have a lot of trouble beginning to play again you just can't play for a long time. In fact, it's the number one thing I get from high school age students and middle school age students. They say, well, I really want to work on my either range or endurance. And I always ask them what their routine is, and they look at me funny. And that's to be expected, because if your routine is the warm-up that you do in band, that routine is built to warm up a whole band. That's not built specifically for the trumpet players to have great endurance, right? There isn't a time in the band warm-up usually where you play for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes at a time without stopping, just one note at a time. That wouldn't be very efficient for your band program. So long tones are the ultimate thing that we all need to be working on, because what are we gonna work on? Well, everything we've done till now, right, has to be in place. It's that foundation has to be set. And then we're going to have even a different kind of resistance, because the whole trumpet, all 4.5 feet of tubing, is going to be resisting the blow, right? So I'm going to have to sort of find that. I'm going to have to make sure my air stays steady through that. And most importantly, I can actually hear what the trumpet can sound like, right? So whatever sound I want to hear in my head, that's what I have to really have first. Because then I'm going to try to make that sound. But at first I'm just going to see, let's see what comes out easily. And then I'll try to work my way towards the nicest sound that I can make. And I'm going to do that as long as I can, on as many single notes as I can. And then I'm going to stop when I get tired and rest a while, and then start over when I feel good again, right? So the numbers that I did the last time I did this, I did 3.5 minutes, excuse me, of the first half of my long tones, and then I did 4.5 minute rest, and then I did 3 minutes finishing off the long tones from C down to F sharp. So that's what we're going to do today, roughly. And take your time. Do it in quarters if you do. Do 3 long tones and rest for a while if you have to, right? Whatever feels easy, so that you can keep going. That's what you want. You want to push yourself. As soon as you start to feel that fatigue, and we may get there. Like I said, I'm doing this as honestly as possible, so I very well may feel tired after 2 minutes, and I'll just call it. And I'll just say, all right, that's it for a few minutes. Let's talk about something else. Okay, so I'll reset this guy. That was almost 4 minutes of rest. And we need our B-flat trumpet. And we're just going to start on G, okay? And oh heck, I'll put on a metronome. Let's get it. Yeah, that's pretty good. 60. Okay, just so we can do it together. When you're doing this alone, don't be beholden to anything. Just let things come out as they will. And since we haven't played the trumpet at all yet, I just want you to, just to start, just get that G to come out really easily without the metronome or anything. So just practice. It's going to be that turnaround with that engaged embouchure, and just immediate turnaround into that reflection. Yeah, see, it doesn't want to come out. I need to put a little better air into it. That was better, right? And I need to open up a little bit too. I'm probably a little flat. Okay, so now we've got it to start. Now we're just going to do long tones together. And I'm just putting on the metronome so we can breathe together, and then just as long as you can go, and then we'll do a couple of them in a row. Always going down a half step, back up, and then the next one starts down a half step. You'll see. So we're starting on G, go down to F sharp and come back, and just hold it forever. 2. You want to play pretty softly too, because the louder you play, the more work you're going to do muscularly. And we want them to work long, not hard yet. All right, now starting on F sharp, going down to F. You notice it bobbles around a lot. That's because my lips are all out of whack. They want to tighten more than they should, but they also want to loosen more than they should. That's unfamiliarity, right? Not playing for 2 days will do that to you. And if you haven't played for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's really going to be bad, but that's okay. Just focus on the air being steady and it'll smooth itself out over a couple of days. All right, now F. Always release into the air. Don't just choke the note. Now E. 2. If you get tired, stop. I'm feeling a little on my top lip already, but not anything bad. 2. Yeah. Good. Now this one, D, we're going to do a little bit louder. Really let the air go. Make sure that it's doing the work and that you're not just holding it here. Okay? And 1, 2. You should run out faster because you're blowing a little more, right? Good, just do another one like that. 1, 2, C sharp. And for now, that's pretty good. That was 5.5 minutes. So that's a long time. I talked a little bit, but you should still feel that tingle, especially under the rim, inside the rim, I should say. And if you feel fatigue in your corners, that's fine. If you feel fatigue in the very top, you want to be careful of that, right? But it's okay because, again, we're getting back into it, right? Just make sure you take plenty of time to rest. So while we rest, and we do really want to rest, these videos, I try to make them something that you can play along with most of the time. Like I said, that won't work for some of this video, but for this part, it certainly will. So what do we do during this time? Well, you can do anything. You can go get a glass of water. I used to have one in here. You can go watch TV. You can go talk to somebody. You can play a round of your favorite video game, if it's that kind of video game, I guess. I find that if I'm really tired, then 2 rounds of something like Destiny or not so much Call of Duty, but any of those kind of like around being like 10 to 15 minutes long. If I do 2 of those, I forgot that I played. And sometimes it's hard to stop playing the video game, I mean, and get back to Trumpet. But if I put the Trumpet in front of me, then I'll and play back here, then I'll see it in between every round, and I'll say, oh, you know what? It's time to play again. I feel good. So you can also do listening. Listening is an incredible thing to do because then you're feeding your trumpet brain with good things, right? Good sounds that you might really want to emulate. And that is absolutely one of the best things you can do with your rest. You want to make sure, though, that your rest is mental rest as well. So I wouldn't necessarily try to do your math homework or something like that, unless you're really good at math or something. It doesn't take you any thought, because this is going to take concentration. And so if we don't take a concentration break, we won't have any when we come back. And that's a different problem entirely. So you should never do anything on the trumpet where you don't know what it is you're trying to accomplish, right? Goalless trumpet playing is meaningless trumpet playing. And so always, when you're, especially when you're doing a routine, but even when you're playing actual music, you should have a goal in mind and an idea of how you want to accomplish that goal. And it's okay to be wrong about that. It's even okay to have bad goals. At least you know that you're trying to do something, right? And then if it's not working for your overall plan, you can adjust that. I also write everything down. It's a good time to write in your journal if you have a journal for trumpet. The way that I am remembering all of these times is that I have them written down from when I did them a few weeks ago. And I tried them out again a few weeks after that, and now here we are. So can also write general notes, like I wrote that my flexibility was shaky last time, so I'm going to try to even that out this time. Okay, so it's been 3 minutes. That's maybe not as long as I would like. So let's talk through the rest of the exercise, and we're also going to augment the long tones for this second part, because I think doing a different kind of long tones might be beneficial. So this next part is basically our standard long tones again, but this time we're going to add another half step, except it won't sound like a half step. So I'll play for you. You don't need to play right now. This won't count against your rest time, but just to show you how it's going to go, we're going to start on C, right? And we're going to go down to B like we always do, back up to C, but this time I want you to stay on the pitch C, but we're going to finger the half step above. So we're going to do a C sharp fingering, but we're not going to let it change pitch. And it may take you a while. You may get, so I'll show you what it's going to be. And for a while, that may not happen for you. You may get, but that's okay. Just try to bend that C sharp down to the pitch or whatever note we're playing. Try to bend it back down, and then just try to keep it there. And again, this is going to engage your embouchure more. I learned this from my dad, who has a whole routine based on these kinds of half-step fingerings, but keeping it bent into the same pitch kind of thing. And I think it's really valuable. The original version of these long tones had really deep lip bends on each note, and that had a different kind of value, but I think this is even better. So, all right, that was 5 minutes. And for me, I feel okay. So we're going to go on, but if you don't feel okay yet, pause the video right now and wait until you feel okay, right? The last time I did this, I rested approximately this amount of time. So this seems pretty good. All right, so here we go. Starting on C, follow me. Same thing, but now we're adding that weird bendy half-step thing. And for just the same amount of time. I'll put a, there we go. Really make sure your support kick in. All right, now B, same thing. They get easier. That was the hardest one. Now they get easier. And it's okay if you get a little bobbled first attack like that. If you're doing it on your own, you can just start over, or you can just go with it like I did, right? Sometimes that happens, and I want to try to figure out if I can make it happen less. Here we go, B flat, 2. I don't know if I've said this so far this video, but I have not yet once tongued. All breath attacks this whole time. If you've been tonguing this whole time, when you do this tomorrow, don't tongue at all. The tongue is your enemy because it's gonna provide plosiveness and explosions of air. A lot of people say absolutely you got to tongue every note out, but you don't. You don't have to. It does help make it safer, but tonguing should be an ornament to an already good airstream, and then the tonguing can not only help but really put the perfect articulation on there. Yes, of course you have to tongue in real music, but just to set up your best sound and your best efficiency, you don't want to do that because it can ruin what we're trying to set up here. So I think that should be obvious, but it just occurred to me I hadn't said it yet. So this may be the worst video I've ever made, but well, hopefully it still helps you. All right, we're on A now. And 1, 2. As soon as I get down to around A, I start losing a little more air. I open up a little too much. And that's okay too, right? Just getting a nice sound, even sound, easy production. All right, here we go. A flat. And... And our last one, G and F sharp. You could, if you have a long enough third valve slide, you can do F sharp and F, but we'll just stick to the ones that everybody can do. 2. So that was another 4 minutes, and yeah, that makes sense, right? It took us about 5 minutes for the first set, 4 minutes for the other set, and we rested about 4.5, 5 minutes in between. So again, do those as slowly as you need to and as long as you can otherwise, right? Take lots of rest, but you could do another set of long tones if that feels like the right thing to do, right? You're just working on the steadiness of your air, the quality of your tone, the ability to turn around the air and immediately get sound to come out and not just air, which, as you can see, I struggle with. That's one of my hardest, one of the things I work on the most, and it goes away as soon as I stop practicing every day, which is why it's gone right now, right? And that's okay. That's I know that about my playing, and that's why I work on it so hard. So, and you get a lot of information about what you will and won't do under pressure, and what you are good at and what you're bad at by addressing those things. So now, in my proto version of this, when I did this earlier well, I guess not this month, last month, I rested a long time here, a very long time, and that's because I took a couple days off that time, and I knew that I would need to really feel it if I was going to figure out how to do this. And so at this point, I took like 13 minutes off. I don't think I have enough interesting things to say to you for 13 minutes in a video that you might watch more than once. And but I would encourage you at this point to take the rest that you need. And like I said, you can redo your long tones if you feel like that's all you're capable of today. Great, redo them. Right? Do them in 1 minute bursts. You can get 3 or 4 long tones in a minute with the rest in between. You know, do the long tones that feel the easiest. Maybe it's really easy for you to play in the middle and high range. in the staff, but it's really hard for you to play in the low range. Well, then don't do lots of the low range stuff. That's just going to wear you out and you're not going to learn anything. Do the stuff that you can do really well and easily, because again, that's just, I think, again, back to the pitcher. Even if you're not a baseball fan, like 100-mile-per-hour fastball is really hard to do. But a fastball that only goes about, let's say, 65, 70, well, in the major leagues, that would actually be a changeup, but just throwing like throwing the ball, basically, right? That's not that hard, and it doesn't tear up your arm. And then you very gradually speed up and speed up and speed up. And you throw off the mound, right? That's how you practice. You don't throw on the mound because the mound also takes more effort. It takes more out of you because you're slowing down all of that speed all into the ground through your legs, and that's off of a cliff, basically, right? So we don't want to go to the hardest version right away. We want to do the easy things more and build back up our stamina for just good trumpet playing, right? The basics, the absolute. Someone once told me that good trumpet playing is simple things done well. And that is absolutely what we're trying to build here, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is number 1 in the violin book. Violin it's a great flexibility book. The first one is super, super simple. It's in a bunch of my other videos, and it's there because it's the simplest version of slurs that is also one of the slowest. And it also has one little repeated note a couple of times, so I can practice adding in the tongue. This is the first time I will have tongued in this entire warm-up. So, without further ado, let me just check on the stream. Yeah, I'm still doing stuff on there. All right. That was 4 minutes of rest, so if you need to rest longer, please do. This is violin number 1. This is GCG, GCG. You'll figure it out quickly if you haven't already seen it in my other videos or don't own a copy. We'll do it together with a metronome, why not? How about 80? I usually play a couple of little scalar things at the end just to keep myself loosened up. I don't want to get too much in a rut. But yeah, and then you learn lots of stuff. Like I tend to pull away pressure as I go down, and it gets me, sort of lands hard on the low note. So I try to maintain even pressure, and the note comes out anyway most of the time. And it doesn't have that bobble to it. So that's the kind of stuff you want to be finding out about yourself. All right, next one down, F sharp and B. 1, 2. Stuff like that. It also helps you get your scales in if you want to just do the major scale of that thing, or maybe the Mixolydian scale of that thing. Whatever makes sense in your brain. That's kind of it. That way you get all your scales by the end of this, or at least 7 of your scales. F now. 2. Whatever you want to play, right? Now E. mixolydian that time, right? E mixolydian. Now E flat. And again, take your time on these. If this is wearing you out, rest some and come back, right? But do try to finish them off. 2 and trouble with my low range there, so I tried to address it briefly, right? It's not, a lack of strength even after one day really ruins my low range for me, so I've got to, that's why one of the reasons I don't take a day off. But I'm glad to sound bad to show you what I mean. All right, there we go. D and G. Well, G false fingering, right? So just keep the fingering, but use your slides. 2 and only one more. Stay sharp, ready, and a 1, 2. That was my first valve rattling because I didn't have my thumb hard enough in it. All right, so that took another 5.5 minutes roughly. That's plenty of time to be playing all at once, right? And then we're going to do just a little bit of faster slurs. This could be anything you want. I'm going to make some recommendations instead of having you play along with me, because I have Vince slurs and other kinds of things in all my other videos, and you may already be totally trashed, right? You may just be like, no, I can't play anymore today. Thank you, Gabriel. That's enough. But you do want to do faster slurs when you can, right? So I would recommend Vince slurs, which are right, they're that set, and you just go down a half step. One of the things I like to do in between, if that doesn't feel good yet, the next thing I would do instead, in between thing, is from the Trumpet Today book by Bud Brisbois, which is just a real simple. Right? And you could extend that for longer, and you could do it in all 7 combinations. You can see the parallels between those two, right? It's just a little more controlled. It's a little less frenetic sounding. And it's something that I feel like I can control now. I feel like I could do that. Whereas Vince slurs might be a little wild feeling for my chops. But usually after a day, I'm ready to do them, right? And then, of course, I want to do a full regular warm-up as soon as I possibly can. That's the whole point of this, is to get us back to being able to do a real routine. Okay, so this is not a real routine, which is why I've been sort of secretly calling it the forbidden warm-up, right? It's the warm-up you should never need. I believe on here it's called Altair 4. If you can figure out that riddle, you can email me about it. But yeah, this is, so let's recap, right? Because we're still only on 2 minutes here, and I've given you 2 good fast slurs options. You could use the Arbin's book, like page 44, or the pages before that, or the pages after that. well, I should say number 22 in the flexibility section, because it's not the same page number in everybody's Arbin's book. But the old number page, page 44, number 22, and around there, there's lots of fast slurs for you to do, right? So I'm going to talk until it's time for you to do them. Or if you want to rest more, you can, but this way you have something to do until that last part of your warm-up. And then I don't recommend doing anything after those fast slurs. If you want to rest an hour, 2, 3, and do it all over again, sure, that's great. But put the horn down, right? It's been an hour. We've been here almost an hour. And that's plenty of time for you to try to concentrate, and that's plenty of time for you to play for today. But make sure you start this. I mean, don't try to play. If you have an audition 2 days from now, you're not going to play your best during that audition if this is where you're at, right? That's why it's the forbidden warm-up, because you really should never need it. You should just always be in good shape. And for me, it's harder to get back in shape than it is to stay in shape. If I play 30 minutes to 2 hours every day and do the right things, I'm going to stay in pretty good shape. And I'm going to stay in tip-top shape if I use 2 hours really well. That's a lot easier than doing this kind of sort of proto routine for 3 days, and then being able to do those routines, and then, you know, maybe 3 weeks later I'm at tip-top shape again. That's a month. That's a lot longer than a couple of hours a day, right? So that's the way I see it. Not everybody's like that. Some people can put the horn down for 3 months and pick it back up and just play. But they're not watching this video because they don't need to, right? And if you're a teacher and you are a person who can do that, then maybe this is the video for you, because your students probably aren't like you. Trumpet playing is a struggle for me, as you could hear in this warm-up, right? It's not an easy thing for me to do, but if I'm smart about how I use my time every day, I can do it pretty well. But I'm absolutely tricking myself into doing it for years and years at a time on a day-to-day basis, right? So let's recap. What did we do today? Well, we did some free buzzing just to get the muscles here. First of all, get some vibration happening, a little bit of blood flow. If you didn't know, your lips swell up when they vibrate. Whether you like it or not, that's happening. And we need a little bit of that swelling, because that's what feels warm to us, right? So that we're just getting a little bit of blood flow, a little bit of muscle engagement, and just a little bit of just like where we want our lips to be, top to bottom, left to right, so to speak, right? Then we did some isolated buzzing with either the cutout or with our fingertips, right? Just to try to get that into a usable space, right? Just to say, like, this is the part that vibrates, and I don't need to hold way out here just to keep it from vibrating. I can do that a little bit passively, and so just to get the right muscles working the right amount, right? Then we use the up sound, which again, you might have used the mouthpiece, but just some slightly more resistant buzzing. And we did that so that we could work on the turnaround and finding the use for that resistance, right? So that we're not holding our breath, we're just turning around the air and finding that resistance, and that's what makes the note come out for us, right? While all the while keeping our muscles engaged. Then we actually put the trumpet together and we played our long tones, but we split them in half. We played the first half of our long tones from G down to low C, or I guess C sharp, and then we played the second half of our long tones after another rest. And we did that because it might be too fatiguing to play the whole set. I might not even notice that I'm fatigued until I get down to low A, and at that point I might think, well, I may as well finish. That would not be a good thought. You should definitely rest when it's time to rest, right? You can rest for even 30 seconds and do the next one, and then rest 30 more seconds and do, you know, if you really need to finish that badly, but make sure you're resting enough. And you can have a plan like half and half, or you can just go and just keep your feelers out to make sure that you're not overdoing it. The next thing we did was slow slurs with violin number 1, and we're just trying to get those long tones a little bit maneuverable. And then what we didn't do, which you're about to do now once we quit here, is you're going to do faster slurs. And those could be, like I said, anything from Vince slurs, like that, to the trumpet today. or something from the Arbin's book. Let's say, right? That's number 27, I think. Or maybe you just want to do number 22. Whatever it is, do that now and do it in all the keys that you feel comfortable, resting when appropriate. And then tomorrow when you come back, do all of the same stuff that you did today that worked, but you might add some parts onto it. So if you like doing lead pipe buzzing, maybe do lead pipe buzzing in between the up sound and the long tones. If you liked, maybe you really need to do some breathing beforehand, right? We sort of just went right to buzzing, but maybe you really like doing some breathing, so add that breathing to the front end, right? Maybe you like to do a lot of lip slurs, and so you want to add in some Schlossbergs or other exercises to the lip slurs section. We didn't do any scales. You know, we should probably do some scales, except for those extra little bits of the violin, right? Maybe you do long tones differently, but your version was too hard to start with, so do your hard version instead, or in addition to, right? Just add on, and then eventually you'll feel like, you know, I feel like today I can do my regular routine. Okay, so try it out. But remember to rest plenty, right? You're not going to win any races playing trumpet because there are no trumpet races. So just take your time. Make sure that you're concentrating on what it is that you're actually trying to achieve every time you do anything on the trumpet. And if you don't achieve that, that's okay. It's totally fine to be wrong. Just make sure that when you try again, you try to figure out what is going to work, right? Just keep an open mind. And remember that what we're trying to do here is we're trying to train our body, because our mind probably remembers exactly how to play trumpet, but our body has forgotten. And so your mind is never going to tell your body exactly how to do it with any great success. Your body has to figure it out on its own, and that's what this warm-up is designed to do, is to get your body to figure out the best way to play trumpet, which will feel at first foreign, but then after a week you won't even remember, right? It'll feel exactly natural. So I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to keep seeing videos like this, you can subscribe. And if you want to have more lessons like this, you can email me. I'd be happy to teach you a lesson. And if you want to have lots of lessons, you can come to ECU and study with me. And we'll do a warm-up class at least once a week, and we'll have weekly lessons and all that stuff. But anyway, I hope this helps you get back in shape for the upcoming semester, or maybe the next school year, or maybe you're just coming back from several years off the horn and you just want to play in your community band. Whatever the case, I hope it helped, and see you next time.